And now for the stunning conclusion of the throw sequence method. Now we're going to go the other way. So here's 7-1-4 is the starting trick and 7-4-1 is the finishing trick. As before, first we check for collisions. So counting up, remember if this is 7, can't be an 8, but there aren't any 8s or 9s or anything more, so we don't have to check the 7s. The 4, let's count up. Can't be a 5, can't be a 6, can't be a 7, can't be an 8. 4s are good. So probably this one is all. If this one wasn't trouble, this one probably is in trouble, but we could check it. 4, can't be a 5, can't be a 6, can't be a 7. We haven't even made it to the other trick, so they're okay. Here's a 1, can't be a 2, can't be a 3, can't be a 4. Uh-oh. So these collide. Let's check this one. This is a 1, can't be a 2, can't be a 3, can't be a 4, can't be a 5, can't be a 6, can't be a 7. So that one's okay. Incidentally, you might wonder how many should you write before checking this. If the largest throw is a 7, you should have at least 7 throws worth of this trick to be sure that all the balls have landed by the time we cross the line, that we're definitely receiving arrivals from this trick and that we haven't left any out. And similarly, if this trick has a highest throw of 7, we should have at least 7 and maybe a few more throws. Okay, because so now we want to be sure to find the place where a non-arrival happens. So we have to overlap, we have to get doing the trick. So we have to do it long enough to be sure that all of these throws are starting to fill in space. And if the highest throw is a 7, if we have more than 7 throws, then we're good. If there were 10s or 11s or something like that, then we should write more throws to be sure that an empty space out here arrives because there was an 11 missing, as opposed to we just didn't go long enough. Okay, so anyway, these two throws collide. Now in the last episode I said the 4 had to go, although I wrote in the comments that isn't necessarily the case. One of these two throws has to go. They collide, and in the vanilla rules that's not allowed, and so we want to find a transition sequence that will, in a vanilla sense, get us from here to here. So we have to decide which one it is that we want to go. And as before, I'm going to make this one go, but we could also make this one go, and then our transition would be over here instead of earlier. But it doesn't matter, but one of them has to go. So let's make this one go. Okay, so it's gone. All right, and now, and that's all the collisions, right? The 7s are good, the 4s are good, and only this one collided, this one didn't collide. So now let's do the arrivals. And I'm going to do it a little quicker than I did it last time because I can see that every third throw is a 7, and I'm going to do the set of 7s, and then all the 1s, and then the 4s. And there's 2 sets of 4s because these 4s are offset compared to these 4s. So the 7s land 7 later, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's a 7 here, and every 3 throws is a 7. Even here, it's 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, sorry. 7, 1, 2, 7, 1, 2, 7, 1, 2, 7. Right, okay? So this is 7, 1, 2, that's where a 7 lands, that's where a 7 lands, that's where a 7 lands, that's where a 7 lands. Okay. And the little dots aren't arrivals, they're just my counting time. Now the 1s are easy. The 1s land right after the 1 happened, so we can just fill those in without really having to count, right? And then the 4s land 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a 4 here, 1, 2. I'm doing the same count. If one landed here, another one lands here. We have only 2 4s here, so we're done with the 4s there. Now let's look at the 4s here. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4s land on 1s. So this 4 lands on this one, this 4 lands on this one. And you see lots of dots here, so we're certainly done by this point. Actually, here's our non-arrival, and here's our non-departure. Oops. So, what can we do to put this ball here? 1, 2, 3. A 3 does it. So one possible transition sequence is, whoops, 7, 1, 4, which we can repeat endlessly. 7, 1, 3, 7, 4, 1. And repeat that endlessly. So that's that's a pretty good one. The transition sequence it's one throw and it's right at the end. It's not even like before it was 7, 5, 1 in the middle. Now it's at the end. So it's just one throw, one little throw. And I'll also say again, not like before. It's not 7, 1, 4 and then a 3 and then the trick. Actually, these would collide, but even if it were some other throw, it is not inserted. It is a replacement. So it's 7, 1, 3. But as before, we can say, hey, let's get some more options, because I like this method and I want to show it again so that you really understand what is going on. And also, if I do this, I'll get to show you another interesting thing, and that is what a 0 looks like. Suppose that I delete this 1. Okay, well that makes this arrival go away, right? If this throw is not a 1, nobody landed here. So now we have two unknown departures and 2 unknown arrivals, and interestingly, there's an unknown arrival and departure at the same time. So what about that? And the answer is it's a 0, okay? So let's do the matrix as before. For this ball to go here, it would have needed a 1. For this ball to go here, it would have needed a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those are the 2 possibilities for where this ball lands, here or here. Now how about this one? This is 1 later, so whatever the last one was, it's 1 less. So I guess that's a 0. Actually, that makes sense. If nobody arrives here and nobody departs there, it's all completely self-consistent in and of itself. That's a 0. And we don't have to do any more worrying about it. We also don't have to worry that nobody's there. It's supposed to be nobody. However, in the interest of finishing the matrix, we can also say, suppose there is an arrival here, then what does it take to go there? That's the 3 that we had before. So now what we have is our 2 by 2 matrix. We either throw a 7, 1, 3 or 7, 4, 0. And one of you commented 7, 4, 0 you found by yourself just by, you know, your own internal state space or arrival time accelerator card that was installed in your wetware. Here's a way to see it generated explicitly, 740. The other choice is 713. You can do 714 any number of times, and then 741 any number of times after either of these 2 sequences. So that's what a 0 looks like in this method. All right. Now, just for kicks, let's delete this one. Let's make this 7 go away. All right, now we had an arrival before, but we made the 7 go away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This arrival no longer happens because we took away the throw that went there. What does that do? Well, this ball can go here, which is a 1, or it could go here, which is a 4, or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It could go up there. Now this ball, it can either stay empty and be a 0, or it could go here, which is a 3, or it could go here, which, since it's 1 later, it's 1 less, is an 8. Now how about this ball? For this ball to go here, it would have to be a -1. It has to go backwards in time. You can't do that, right? So this actually is not a candidate. But the following 2 are. You could go here later as a 2, and you could go here as the 7, which we deleted. So this guy, we can't do that, all right? We don't have, at least I don't have, and I haven't seen them in catalogs, balls that go back in time. There's an interesting YouTube video about negative siteswap throws where ball-anti-ball pairs are created. But that's more of an interpretation than the physical reality of going backwards in time. This is our resulting matrix, and now we don't have 3 factorial choices anymore because there's a missing spot. But what we do have is we can do 1, 3, 7 or 1, 8, 2, and then if we do a 4 here, we can't do an 8 because then we can't do this one. So we only have 4, 0, 7. And similarly, if we do a 9, we can't do a 3 because There's nothing there, so 902 is the other possibility. Also, I'd like to make a comment. If for some reason we had deleted a ball even earlier, and also this 7, so that this is still a gap, then, like, if we delete this ball and we leave this gap here, then it would take a 10 to go from here to here. And I would write it as a 10 and not as an A, because remember what this means is it lands that many later. If this ball were missing, sorry, if the departure were missing, okay, it doesn't land A later, it lands 10 later. And it might be that some of you find there's some new information or a new insight contained in this analysis that you never thought of because you don't think of the throws as how many later they arrive. And the use of A instead of 10 might add to that lack of insight, because you're not thinking about, well, a 7 lands 7 later. An A lands A later, whatever A is. Okay, a 10 lands 10 later. So I prefer the numerical method of denoting throws to the alphanumeric way, just because it gives clearer insights even though it's less compact. Sometimes I'll buckle under pressure and use the alphanumerics just because that's what everybody else understands, but I greatly prefer this method for this reason. Okay, so this is how to calculate it for 714 returning into 741. Here's your matrix, and the possible tricks can be read off of this. Oh, just to finish it off, so the possibilities are 137, 182, 407, and 902. Okay, those are the choices that that you get from only deleting these 3 throws. Okay, so not counting this one. That was still a 7. All right. Okay, so there's all the choices for this phase and for these throws. Now, of course, I could delete any more throws, you know, whatever I want, and decide to create a larger matrix that has these new throws as candidates for change. And I think by now it should be clear how you do that given a trick written down.